Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this triumphant Tuesday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update. And as always, we've got quite a lot to get into. We are going to be looking at Bitcoin's price action. The cryptocurrency space is currently pulling back at the moment, and I think this fills people with a little bit of worry, certainly when it comes to the altcoin sector, which we know typically doesn't do too well when Bitcoin is pulling back. However, I'm going to be offering you guys some reassurance from a price point of view. Bitcoin is on a longer journey that sees it go to higher price targets, and ultimately the altcoin sector is going to follow. And we're seeing lots of positive things when it comes to the altcoin space, certainly through the lens of Total 2, Total 3, and others which have far higher targets ahead of them. So we will be talking about that. I want to kick the video off, though, with some news. And it's a pretty interesting news. Now, we know that a global ETF provider, WisdomTree, has just registered yesterday in the state of Delaware for an XRP ETF. The individual here, who is Eleanor, I think, is she Bloomberg? No, Fox Business, claims that she has confirmed with the company this is a legitimate filing. WisdomTree has over $100 billion in asset under management. So this is big news. We are going to see a wave of crypto ETFs. We do look often at crypto ETPs to help us work out what direction the space is going in broadly. And this is Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, which we think is going to $175. And we've been saying this, really since down here. Not that it was going here because we didn't have the targets to confirm that, but that it was on a broader upward trajectory, and this could be used to look at the or as a lens to look at the altcoin space. And of course, we've got Bitwise Top 10 Crypto Index Fund. These guys have actually filed to become an ETF also. We see Solana ETF filings, etc., etc. This will likely become a reality in 2025, and we're going to see a lot of capital flow into the space as a result of it because they're actually going to be able to do so. And I do think we're going to see that narrative shift away from Bitcoin to altcoins, likely on a number of catalysts. So this is really interesting news. Some other interesting news that we're going to be getting the release of on the 1st of December is Brad Garlinghouse last week did a 60-minute interview about the cryptocurrency space, the push for regulatory clarity, and how industry banded together to advocate for pro-innovation candidates on both sides of the aisle through Fair Shake PAC. Full episode to be aired soon. Stay tuned for details. So I think this is coming out around about the 1st of December, so potentially next week. But this is going to have broad ramifications for the space as a whole. We also have some very interesting news in regards to Tron. Now, Tron is a dark horse many people perhaps haven't considered. However, it's been doing exceptionally well relative to the cryptocurrency space. And through the pullback that Bitcoin and the space saw as a whole, Tron really didn't see that. And Tron founder Justin Sun invests $30 million in President-elect Donald Trump crypto project, making him the largest investor. And of course, this is from Justin Sun himself confirming this. We are thrilled to invest $30 million in World Liberty Financial as its largest investor. The US is becoming the blockchain hub, and Bitcoin owes it to Donald Trump. Tron is committed to making America great again and leading innovation. Let's go. So there might be something interesting coming off the back end of all that. And just a reminder, this is from Matt Hogan. 95% of the world's largest investors have zero exposure to Bitcoin, but 95% of all Bitcoin is already owned. Now, I'm currently reading Hijacking Bitcoin by Roger Ver, and it does raise some interesting questions or thoughts that we're going to be discussing on the channel to as much of a degree as I possibly can without self-sabotaging myself in regards to my ideals on Bitcoin. But there's some really interesting things going on. XRP is doing very well, so is XLM. There's likely something big coming on the back end of that. There's ETF filings going on. There's also Brad Garlinghouse's 60 Minutes. Tron, which is very much a dark horse, we've said this for a long time, is now the largest investor in Trump's crypto project. So is there something to come on the back end of that? And then as promised, I want to talk a little bit about price action with you guys because I think people are kind of nervous every time we get a pullback. But what I want to say to really start things off is that Bitcoin's done spectacularly well. It's 40K nearly up from sort of October. So November has been an exceptional month. And actually, when you assess the trend that we're in, really starting back in January 2023, when we got into the markets, and you guys could have taken that step. Also, certainly if you watch the channel, if you want to take it a step further, you become a Patreon. We're very much in a broad uptrend, and this was just a pullback in what is broad uptrend and set up continuation structure that is likely going to take Bitcoin to 130, 151, and then potentially 309. And looking at this pullback, what we did was we showed you a number of examples that we're going to be taking a look at again today of charts that did exactly this and went on to see higher prices. So if I go back to my watch list, I've got a few of them on here in the form of the DAX. You can see this was what we were looking at in regards to a Bitcoin-esque pullback that led to continuation. Why I'm highlighting this is because you are going to have pullbacks along the way. Obviously, Microsoft is another one. You can see after this real sort of rally, you get this sort of short pullback, and then you get pullbacks along the way, but there's broad continuation being set up. If I go to some of my stage 2 breakouts, Vanex Semiconductors is a great example. This in the next push will likely make its target. You can see you have this kind of rally and you have pullbacks along the way. And really, this is the trajectory that Bitcoin is on, but do not fear because Allincrypto is here during this pullback. This is just a short-term pullback after an aggressive move. It's always very ironic to me or entertaining when I see people saying, well, why is it crashing? Why is it this? Why is it that? To be honest, I just totally ignore those comments because I think that I try and help people as much as possible, but you need to start looking at charts to really get some sort of a navigation system in regards to the markets and help yourselves out massively in doing so. So there's no doubt in my mind Bitcoin is on a broader trajectory. When we look at the total cryptocurrency market cap, this is very much on a similar path. Of course, you have recently ran and are now into price discovery as far as the prior all-time high for the industry as a whole. It went to, I think, 3.3, just shy of $3.4 trillion. Is this going to pull back, having put a toe above the high in a kind of Bitcoin-esque fashion? Potentially. But that ultimately is likely going to set it up for broader continuation, and we already have technical patterns that see that broader continuation for the overall space get achieved. When we look at the total cryptocurrency market cap, we're seeing a similar thing. We're seeing sort of a resistance level come into play. This is excluding Bitcoin. When we look at total 3, very positive things broadly across the board, and we're just into sort of a resistance level that might actually set up broad continuation, which isn't such a bad thing. And then when you look at kind of others, you can see this is reacting with this level, but likely going to smash through it and take everything outside the top 10 to just shy of $2 trillion. You know, if you invert the chart, sometimes it helps people sort of look at these. So do not fear. Allincrypto is here. The markets are in very good standing. Look at the volume on all of these, by the way. I just want to highlight that also. This is just a pullback, a short-term pullback in what is a broader uptrend that's likely going to set up to continuation. We did have that really short-term target that actually got ran. And you can see where you're pulling back. You know, you're going to have pullbacks along the way in what is a broader journey. And certainly for myself, particularly when it relates to Bitcoin miners, and we have one miner in the Patreon that we think is going to do spectacularly, I'll be using this pullback as an opportunity to load up, potentially not just by miners, but some smaller positions, because I'm largely all in the space and have been for a while now in the crypto space more broadly. So do not fear. This is just a short-term pullback. There's some unbelievable things going on in the space. Really, since Trump's election, there's been a massive hype as it relates to this industry. Expect some sort of a call off and a pullback from that, but understand that everything is going where it should be. Everything's heading in the right direction. We're going to see a lot of these things that have been spoken about and the rumors that have came out come to fruition. I think the actual taking place of a lot of these things, certainly January when Trump actually enters office, when Gary Gensler resigns, et cetera, you're likely going to see a real explosion in January. I think we're going to see positive prices, obviously, for the remainder of this month, December, as is typical. And then, of course, January, February, March, April, and we'll see where we're at in May. So, market's in very good standing. Hang in there. From a technical point of view, there's a broader trend or direction that's now in play. You're going to have markets don't just go up in straight lines, nor do you want them to, because that's typically what occurs at the end of a mania phase for a bull market. We want to see this structural kind of uptrend continue. There's lots of targets wherever you look that predict this, whether it's ETPs, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's totals, whether it's miners, whether it's altcoins specifically. The space is generally in good standing. Really looking forward to that 60 days by Brad Garlinghouse. Also, I think in 2025, we're going to see a slew of ETFs. And what's coming for Tron with the sort of Trump crypto project announcement, and they're now the largest investor, or the founder of Tron is now the largest investor. He's done some interesting things, like he paid all that money to go and have a meal with Warren Buffett, to which absolutely nothing came out of it. But we shall see. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next one.